Local CIA black station's gone dark, set up in the wake of the Singapore disaster. The station was tasked with keeping an eye on the local operations. Since the wall went up and the authorities abandoned evacuation efforts, the place has been pretty much run by the dominant criminal organization, the 54 Immortals. Tell me what you got from the CIA.
The data package.
Black Ops 3 is not your typical game. It's not better than Part 1 or Part 2. When you dive into Black Ops 3, expect to a good beginning and a flat middle, and then the ending. Now, it's not a terrible game, it's not a good game, but it's still an average game. It's still that game that you played last year. Now, the game is nothing new into entering the world of first-person shoot 'em up that it doesn't give you a break. Now, unlike Part 2, that the choices that you make in the game, the set pieces, and the character development, and the link between 1 and 2. Now, Part 3 doesn't have that. It's all new. It's an all new story, all new people, and it's further in the future. It's everything that you don't want and everything you do want. Now, you say I would put on more of the bad part of the game. Now, I don't like the shooting on this game. It's not as polished that you played in 1 and 2, or mostly it still feels like Call of Duty, but it feels like Advanced Warfare, Ghost, the other ones, and Treyarch has a reputation of good story and good balance. I don't know what happened with this one. It just feels like it kind of died down a lot. I really miss the balance on the game. The guns doesn't feel any difference. Sometimes they do look new and shiny and big, but they don't feel any difference. I had an incident that I'm shooting a guy from, let's say, a good feet or two, and I'm hitting him, but it was not connecting. He wasn't dying until I got closer and closer and closer to him. Then I end up killing him. I shot him in the head, I shot him in the body, and then I got up closer and closer and closer to the point that I'm face to face with the guy to kill him. And that's the problem. The AIs don't respond too well. They're always straightforward. There's nothing new with that. The gun controls are really shitty. Like I said, they don't hit too well. Sometimes you have to use the most powerful gun to do the job sometimes, and that's most of the problem. You gotta be in the line of sight with most of them. I remember Ghost had a good gameplay that you could lean into cover. They took that out, and I don't know why. That was a good feature. I guess that they want to be the different shooter than the other ones that came out. I think that was the big mistake. I don't feel any connections towards the characters like I did in Part 2. I just kind of rushed through the story. I did like the premise of the story. It's average sci-fi AI hacking shit that controls people. It's very straightforward. You already know what's going to happen before it tells you. And I kind of feel like that was a cheat. They could have done so much. And then you got the action set pieces that's so small comparisons that the world was supposed to be big. It's very small. I got upset because there was a couple good ones and there was a couple bad ones. And most of the time I felt like I was just running and shooting. Part 2 had a nice break to it. And it had a perfect balance. In Part 1, it was the story-driven gameplay that got me hooked. And that's what I missed. This one doesn't really have both. It has a good gimmick. It has a fantastic gimmick about controlling AIs, doing this, doing that. It does breaks up sometimes the flow and gives you strategy, but there's no hook into it. There's nothing to push forward. I kind of feel like I'm just running in one place and running to the next place, following the dots, and then shooting AIs, and then it gets complicated by adding chaos to make it the difficulty. It's not difficult if you put a lot of people on screen. Then ramp it up and let them run around over the place. Now, I don't feel that this game is like the best. I did said before it's average as best. It's mediocre. But I don't feel anything towards, you know, what's going on the story. I don't feel anything about the weapons. I don't feel that same passion that I had. Now, everything you do in the game does have an impact. Everything does get destroyed. You know, it does has some good buildings that gets, you know, I would say destroyed. Everything you could do, it does cause damage, but a minimum, only unless it's set into a certain spot in a certain place. Half the times I end up going to have to go back and see what happens because they want you to focus on one piece. It's not, like I said, a balanced, you know, action set piece, but overall I did have fun. It's a fun game. And then you got character development that I felt like, okay, you got boy and girl who have a love interest, and that's super forced in. I'll talk about that later. And then you got your best friend who betrays you. You know, it's that typical, you know, action sci-fi thing. I kind of feel like this gore factor is a little high in this one. I was a little shocked, but there's also some things that it's just way too much to see, and way too much to swallow. And yeah, there's trying emotional atmosphere there, but what bugs me the most is that out of the blue there was a love interest, and that came out in the middle of the fucking game. If you don't believe me, you guys think about it, check this out. I'll show you right now. It's unbelievable.
He's not the only one.
If the time comes, I'll do what needs to be done.
We can find another way. A way outside the military, outside the CIA. There are places we can go, places we can be safe. Please, listen to me. Stay with me.
So besides that, then we gotta talk about the multiplayer. Now, the multiplayer I'm not really into. I'm not an online guy. I don't do, you know, bother 24/7 playing online games with other people. And when I do, I expect some balance. I expect to have fun. People work in teams. People, you know, is they helping one another, like Rainbow Six. And this one, it's more chaos. Everyone's shooting, everyone's dying, everyone's running around in the fucking wall. It's all over the place. Because with these new abilities, it limits the fact that there's small maps, and then really limit when it comes down to your powers, your movements, and then you get shot in the ass because you can't control the camera. You're running the wall, you're trying to control this, you're trying to see what's going on. They're giving you so much to do so little. Now, if you are a hardcore, you know, multiplayer shoot 'em up guy or girl, you gotta invest into these skills. Now, I don't have that time. I don't really want to bother in getting shot 100 times to learn a skill set. Some people do. Good for them, but I'm not that guy. Now, I do feel like sometimes there's a clutch learning curve, and there's a lot of times your guns will not work if you're lower class. And when I say sometimes you want to work in teams, your teams will leave you in the dust. It's not balanced. And again, it is not a balanced game. This one is way off the charts. And that I always had a feeling with that, with the new Call of Duty games, this new futuristic games, because there's no balance. And that's why I kind of hate the most. Because Black Ops and Black Ops 2, they were more grounded. They were more, okay, you work in teams, you help each other. Yeah, there's still chaos, but at least that you have places to cover. You have places to have your tactics. There's no cover. They want you to focus on straight ahead, shooting people, and getting the job done. And that's why I kind of feel like this one has no tactical advantage whatsoever. It's all about rushing ahead, and if you have the strongest gun or most powerful gun, you will have the advantage. I felt that this game doesn't. It needs to be more balanced out, and it's time for change for multiplayer. Or maybe this whole franchise is time for change, because you got zombie mode. Yeah, that's fun. That's okay. It's whatever. But it's just time to change. Pit vehicles in the game. Eliminate the kill streaks. Add more value in the game. Add more depth. Add more scale. And at the end of everything else, make the game fun again. You know, give it people the scale. If Battlefield could do it, and Rainbow Six can do it, these people could do it. It's the same game, old engine, nothing new, and it needs to be better again. You know, play Call of Duty 2 and 3 and maybe 4, and you're gonna see the change, because it's smaller levels, big set pieces, and then all filler. And again, wait 2-3 years in development, make your game better, think before you guys do another game, because guess what, the next game is gonna be based in space. Like I said, it's just another thing to do, and they need to change. And again, if you guys like my show, give me a thumbs up, comment, and I want to see you guys comment if I'm right or wrong, and see you guys next time. Alright, take care everyone.
You got something to say, Hendricks?
I just noticed you got a lot of blood on you.